Today we will speak about the ever-standing question: where does the tongue touch the reed when articulating, so that we can have a punchy and crisp staccato and articulation. So the goal is to get this super round kind of articulation, but that is still cut off quite cleanly. Now, how do we reach it? First of all, let's speak where the two most used positions are to block the reed, to touch the reed with our tongue. I will tell you at the end of the video why touching the reed with the tongue is actually not the right term. So we should have a different visualization for this, but for now, let's speak about touching the reed. So there's basically two common things that, like systems, that most clarinetists use. The first one is touch the tip of the reed here. And the second one is touching the reed with the tongue around here. Okay, so it's below the tip of the reed in a place where it's more firm and not so sensitive as in the tip of the reed. So there are basically these two schools of articulation, and in this video today we will solve once and for all which is the correct place to put the tongue. Now, before I will tell you what to do, I will tell you what not to do. So the option we shouldn't do is, you might have guessed it already, to touch the reed at the tip, okay? To put your tongue at the tip of the reed to stop the vibration of the reed. By the way, excuse my dirty reed. It's a pretty good reed, so it's quite old. That's why it looks like this. So if your reeds don't survive until the moment where they look like this and don't play good anymore, you're doing something wrong. So yeah, good reeds look like this. Anyways, so why don't we touch the tip of the reed? Okay, so we don't touch the tip of the reed because it's difficult to block off the air completely. So let's say I put now the tongue at the tip of the reed. There's always this slight fuzziness because the tip of the reed is so sensitive. So if the tongue is very close to the reed, there's always this slight fuzzy moment where the reed still continues to vibrate a little bit. Now, if we are actually harsh enough with the tongue and put the tongue here to shut off the reed completely, this works, but it creates one problem. And the problem is that we are thinking the wrong way, okay? So you have here this hole, basically, right, where the air travels through. And many clarinetists have this visualization that we somehow need to close this hole here with our tongue. We don't need to close this hole with our tongue. That's the wrong way. Because the problem is, with this kind of visualization, if you close this hole with your tongue and you touch the very tip of the reed with the tongue, now the tongue is in front of the hole and the vent is completely closed, so that's fine. But now we take the tongue away, and what happens in the moment when we take the tongue away is that the tongue is in the way of the air streaming freely through the clarinet. So the first thing that happens when we take the tongue away, gently, just a little bit, is that the tongue is in the way of the air. So we actually continue to block the pathway with our tongue. So that's why this is not the preferred way to articulate, and also not the best one. Now let's merge into what to do. want to have an articulation that reacts directly when we take the tongue away. When we take the tongue away, air should stream at full speed through the instrument, and there should be nothing in the way of the air at all that hinders it to make the reed vibrate immediately. Okay, so how can we achieve this? You might have guessed it already, because we already eliminated the thing we shouldn't do, which is to put the tongue from the front at the tip of the reed. What we should now think about, okay, and coming closer here to visualize this. So what we should think about is that the tongue comes from below, okay, from below, and it presses here at the reed, where the reed is a little bit more firm and it can take more harshness of the tongue, right? Come with the reed here and we press it close. We press onto the reed, and pressing onto the reed with the tongue, what will it do to the opening? Okay, so when I come here, I touch. Touching is not enough, okay? Because when I touch the reed, the air can still travel through and the vent is not blocked. So I need to touch and press to close the tip off. And now the vent is closed. But now the cool thing, when I take away the tongue, the air can travel at full speed directly and nothing blocks the pathway, right? The problem is when I am too gentle with the tongue, I don't completely block the vent, and therefore I can't create the pressure for the next note to sound well. So what we have to do is press and release. So touch, press and release. Yeah. So yeah, in my opinion, this gives the best kind of articulation and the most control to crisp tone beginnings, so that the next note that comes directly after we take away the tongue sounds super nice, which is what we want in the end effect. Okay, I hope you enjoyed this video today and my kind of old reed that still sounds kind of nice, and see you soon. Bye.